Hi, everyone. Kim and I have decided that it's important for us to all have a place where we can share our student narrative notes with each other so that we all have access to them. We wanted this place to be easily accessible for everyone, and we especially wanted Kim and I to have access to those notes at any time that we need them, just so that we can help you address any student issues that you're encountering. So I'm going to show you where those new narrative notes files are located. This is going to be a change for some of you. Um, this little video will be available to you in Google Drive, and I'll show you where you can find that. And hopefully you'll be able to access it whenever you forget how to get into the student narrative notes file. Okay, so I'm going to take you in and show you how to save narrative notes. So we are going to start out at your Gmail screen, which we know that everybody knows how to access. So this is my Gmail screen. And what I want to do is go into Google Drive. So I'm going to go up to my apps and go to Drive. And once I'm in my Google Drive, if I want to create a new student narrative notes file, say I've got a new student coming in, it's actually really easy. What I'm going to do is go over on the left-hand side of the screen and click on New. Okay. I want to do a new Google Sheet, and then I'm going to click on the little arrow here for more options, and I want to create this sheet from a template. This is very important. You always want to choose from a template when you're creating a new student narrative sheet. So I choose from a template, which takes us to our template gallery. And you may or may not know this, but Cornerstones has its own spot in the template gallery. And you can see here our student narrative notes sheet is the only template that I have here in this Google Sheets template gallery. I'm going to click on it to open it up. It's thinking for a while, and you can see this is a very similar document to the student narrative notes form that we've used in the past. Up at the top, this is a little bit different. We want the student last name and first name. We want the town the student's from, where they're accessing services. So that's going to be your program site, Aberdeen, Huron, Mitchell, Yankton, or Vermilion. And then we'd also like the current class enrollment. We're trying not to put too much personally identifiable information on this form, so we decided current class enrollment and town with the student name was a good way for us to know who that student is. And if we want more information about that student, we'll know where to look in LACES to make sure we've got the right student. You have the date here, notes, and the staff name for those notes. I want to show you what to do if you are going to enter notes on a student. One of the first things I want to mention is we don't expect you to do student notes in these forms on a daily or weekly or monthly basis. There might be students that you don't create a narrative notes form in this drive for. Our intention is that if you have a student who has some special circumstances, maybe they've got some behavioral issues, maybe they've got a unique situation that we're having to weigh in on, and you want to make sure that we've got all the information that you have easy to find in a place where we can access it. This is also a good form to use if you've got a student who's maybe crossing programs. One of the most obvious kinds of students here would be a distance learner. So if you've got a distance learner from one of the sites and they're also in distance learning, then if Jeremy has a distance learner, he would want to make notes on the student, but Royce would also want to make notes on the student. So this would give them a common place to do that. So we've got one centrally located spot for those notes. Okay? So I'm going to show you how you would fill this form out. There's some placeholder text here just to remind you what we're looking for in these fields. So I'm going to do last name, first name. I'm going to make some notes for Bob Smith. Bob is a student from Huron. Whoops. And Bob's current class enrollment is GED class and distance ed. I'm going to make this note on the 19th or on the 17th of January 2019. And I'm going to let everybody know that Bob completed his TABE testing. I filled out the distance ed registration for him, and I'll check in with Royce and Krishna to see if he follows through. Now you'll notice as I typed, my words went across the section of the form for the notes. That's okay, because when I tab out of that cell, the notes will automatically wrap and I'll be in the spot for name. And I'm going to put my name there so everybody knows that I'm the person who made this note about Bob. The other thing I want to do is I want to name this sheet. And again, I want to name this sheet with Bob's last name, comma, first name, so that it's easy for me to find. And I want to save this sheet, not just in my drive, but I want to put it in that specific student narrative notes folder. You're all going to have a student narrative notes folder shared with you. So you want to make sure to save those notes in the student narrative notes folder, because that will be shared with everybody then, and everybody will be able to access them. Okay? So I filled out Bob's narrative notes. I created this sheet for him, and now I'm going to close that sheet. And when we go back to my drive, I'm going to go down, scroll down to my student narrative notes folder. And when it eventually opens, you'll be able to see that I've got, there's a student narrative notes form here. Don't use that one. Always go to new and from template. But I've got notes on Jane Doe and Bob Smith in the student narrative notes folder. You can see that our list is going alphabetically, so it should be easy enough for us to find the students in this folder. And if you have any questions about it, you can always come back and watch this video again. Okay? Hopefully, that's a pretty simple process for you all to follow. If you do have questions, refer back to this video. The video will be in this student narrative notes folder as well. And you can always ask your coworkers or me if you get stuck and you're not sure what you're doing on your student narrative notes. Thanks.